So I'd try and recognize your own red flags. And then when you're assessing people, everybody's going to have red flags here and there, but you just have to recognize what's a deal breaker for you. There's character flaws and then there's deal breakers. Everybody's going to have character flaws. Some people might be late, some people might be messy, some people might not be as intelligent as you like, but deal breakers might be, I don't want somebody who can't regulate their emotions and gets too angry. I can't cope with that. I can't cope with somebody who doesn't check in on me and doesn't even see if I'm good or bad, just gets on with their day and is super independent. I can't be with someone who's disloyal. Once you know your deal breakers, instead of focusing on all the things that you love about a man, just focus on the deal breakers. He could be amazing on a million things, but if he's got even one of your deal breakers, the relationship will deteriorate. But if he's got none of the deal breakers, and maybe he's not the most handsome person in the world, or maybe he's not the most successful, but he's got no deal breakers, that person is a green flag. So just know your own red flags and your own deal breakers, and you'll be good to go.
Oh, I love that. What are your red flags for yourself then?
Personally, I'm super insecure. Super insecure. And I've worked on it for quite some time and it always pops back up. I always think I'm under control, but every now and then something will happen. Maybe there'll be some distance or maybe there'll be some, I haven't heard from him for a while or whatever it is. My brain will go to the negative. It will assume that equals you're going to leave me and hurt me. So then I start to get emotionally hostile. So I'll say, this means that means this is what you're going to do. I know it. And it's that mentality that over the years I've had to kind of work on because it's so destructive. You're almost predicting the problems because the thing is when you're insecure, you'd rather be right than be happy. Unfortunately. So you'd rather predict all the problems and say, you're going to do this to me, I'm going to go now, and self-sabotage, than just trust the process and accept you might be wrong. And you might be wrong. They might be perfect for me. Maybe you're the problem. So now over the years, I've learned that I'm often wrong. And it's good to know that.
Wow, you really hit me with that. That was so powerful. I think especially if you've been through the heartbreak though, because you remember how that feels. You don't want it to happen again. So now it's like actually being right is almost soothing. Going back to like how you are kind of feeling control. When someone's cheating on you, when someone's like either manipulating you or like just like mind fucking you. I'm not even sure what other word to use. It doesn't feel good. And so you never want to get back there again. And so because you don't want to get back there again, it's actually... it is self-soothing sometimes to see, I was right, versus let me let go, let me trust this person and have the opportunity for them to break my heart.
Exactly that. Because here's the thing, with pain, physical or psychological, if we can predict it, it's less painful. So what people do who believe that they're going to get hurt by whoever they're with, they'll pick somebody that they know is going to hurt them. They might pick somebody who's married. They might pick someone who's got a history of being unfaithful. They might pick somebody who's emotionally unavailable. At least they know the pain they're about to receive and they put an expiration date on the relationship before it starts. It's their way of ensuring that they'll be single again. Whereas when somebody has high self-esteem, they don't want to pick a poison. They don't want to pick pain. They want to pick a form of connection. So when you've got low self-esteem and you're insecure, unfortunately, what you'll do is self-sabotage by picking the person that's going to hurt you in the most familiar way, in the way that you can know and recognize and navigate. And that's why women will go from one narcissistic relationship to another abusive relationship to another cheater and to another cheater, because they're unconsciously picking the pain to reoccur so that they self-sabotage and find themselves single again. Unfortunately.
Wow, that's really hard, yeah. Is it more likely then, as a predictor, that if they've cheated on someone in the past, they're going to cheat on you?
Yes.
Really?
Unfortunately. And it's not a case of because you should always judge everybody with that, paint everybody with that same brush, especially if it was when they were super young and they haven't done it since, there are exceptions to the rule. But usually when somebody cheats, what that suggests is cheating is a coping mechanism. When things are getting difficult in their relationship, rather than confronting it head on and trying to find a way of resolving the issue, they would rather seek a way of numbing the pain and outsourcing somebody else. So they've used cheating as a coping mechanism. And the only way you'll know that they've changed is if they found new coping mechanisms. So if they found a new way to cope with any kind of stress in a relationship, then you can trust them. But if they haven't and they still have communication issues, they still have that kind of trust issue, issue, whatever it is, chances are they'll go to what they know is the easiest way to soothe the pain from when a relationship is falling apart. And if it's been cheating in the past, they'll stick to that.
One of the biggest fallacies is that relationships shouldn't be work. Say what? We put time, effort, and hard work into growing our careers or our business, but love should just happen? After 20 years of being married, all starts with being willing to ask and answer hard questions. I have a free downloadable PDF for you for a happy, successful, lasting love. Click the link below for free access to the most important questions you must ask your partner PDF. Oh, yeah, God, that really hit home. So before I met Tom, I was dating this guy and I was with him for about 3 years, or 3 to 4 years. And we would have these massive rows, right? And he would be verbally abusive and it was just very toxic and turbulent. And then, of course, I mean, I was like 16, 17 years old at the time, but then he would come back and say, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. And then, of course, he would do it again and then I'd leave him and then he would say, oh my God, I'll never do it again. And you so want to believe, like you really want to believe this person's changed. But to your point, what have they done in order to change?
Yeah, unfortunately, they have to show a shift in their values. And that doesn't come so easy, and particularly doesn't come with the person who forgives them. Unfortunately, this is a paradox of life. When you forgive a behavior, essentially you give permission for that behavior to reoccur unless you set new boundaries. If you forgive that behavior and there's been no change in boundaries, what will happen is we think we're showing them forgiveness and kindness, and of course they're going to appreciate it and come back with a new personality. They're thinking, I found somebody dumb enough to accept me in my worst form. I'm never letting this person go. So they end up coming back to you, not out of love, but purely because they don't feel like anybody else would accept their unacceptable behavior. And so they come back out of that. And we stupidly think because they love us so much, but really it's because they found somebody dumb enough to accept their unacceptable behavior.
Have you been cheated on before?
I haven't, which is so strange considering my radar and my anxiety towards it. You would think I've been cheated on loads. I actually have never experienced it. Not that I know of, is what I should say. It's not that I know of, but I would imagine it's because, and you know, when I asked my partner, like, oh, you know, and he said, you make it so difficult to cheat on you. Even if I wanted to, it's so difficult because you kind of predict all the problems and do all of these things. I'm so wary of it, which is a really bad way to live, by the way. It's not a healthy way to live, but that I almost kind of make it like it's not even worth the trouble, because if you were to do it, she'll know within a minute and she'll make a big deal. I haven't been cheated on, but I have an intense fear of abandonment. But so cheating for some reason is my biggest fear, even though I've never experienced it. And from working with couples, you can cope with it. No one dies from a partner that cheats. Personally, I just find it a really difficult situation. Have you ever been cheated on?
Not that I know of. And well, but back when I was in my teen years, so yes, I guess I have been cheated on technically. But as far as I know, he didn't sleep with anyone. That was his thing. It was just a snog, a club for snogging for all the Americans is basically a French kiss. So he was going clubbing with his mates, and I'm just like, oh, well, he says he loves, going back to literally where we started, he said that he loved me. He says that, you know, I'm his forever girl. And so of course he's not going to cheat on me. And then when I found out, it was a story, it was sobbing, he was crying, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. And I was so insecure. That was going back to, like, I was so insecure because he was my first boyfriend. I was bullied for my looks as a kid. He used to tell me, no one's ever going to love you as much as I love you. And I believed him. Like, I had such low self-esteem. And so that's why I really wanted to talk to you specifically about this subject, because I somewhat knows how it feels when you can have your heart broken and you can trust somebody and they can actually, you know, really use that to your point. And I want to make sure that people hear at home what you mean. It's not that you are dumb. It's that they think of you as being dumb enough to then fall for it again.
What it is.
And I eventually had to build my self-esteem. I had to build my confidence. And then I had to set boundaries to be like, no, this shit ain't gonna fly anymore, homie. Like, it's just not gonna fly. And it was once I did that I actually was like, why the hell am I with this doofus? Like, and that's when I ended up leaving.
Did it cause any trust issues when you first met Tom, or did you manage to park that up? Amazing.
Yeah, I think because I'd already built my self-esteem, I built my confidence, that when I met Tom, I was like, so I'm not gonna take this, I'm not gonna take this, I'm not gonna take this, you know, like, this is who I am. And I did it with, I think, confidence. Now, I've been together with Tom for 23 years, and it has been a stacking stone of building the trust over the years. Because I was worried about like, you know, what if he takes my heart and breaks it? But I realized like I sat there and had almost like one of those moments where I was like, okay, you can choose this path, you can choose this path. One path was you can go in this relationship and always have like, you know, the red flags up and they're like your eye, like, you know, like detecting, or I can just give myself over. And again, as an adult, I didn't have heartbreak, so I understand why that also may be different. But I just chose to give myself over to Tom.
But you also chose wisely in your partner selection.
Oh yeah, talk to me about that actually.
Because the thing is, as much as you can trust and so on and so forth, when you choose wisely, that really helps let go. For me, that's really worked. When you find somebody, when you choose wisely, the battle is halfway won. Like a lot of the times what women want to do is they come to me and they're just like, I just want to work on myself because I keep getting anxious about my partner and so on and so forth. But when you look at the partner, they've got very good reasons to be anxious. He comes home late all the time. He doesn't check in. He doesn't really show her concern, and they want to fix themselves. But when you choose correctly, what will happen is you don't need to kind of fix yourself. The relationship is relatively smooth. You'll have ups and downs, but you'll have both of you will want to make the relationship work, and both of you have that joint effort to want to make each other happy. But when you pick badly, it's like you're kind of holding on for dear life with this person, begging them to behave, but they're not going to, unfortunately. So have a look at your selection process. And you chose great with Tom. Like I was telling Lisa before I started, every interview I've ever watched with Tom, he genuinely shows so much admiration and love for his wife in every opportunity he gets to praise his wife, and it's so genuine and so sincere that with somebody like that, how would you get trust issues? To the world. He's not just saying it closed to you to please you. It's just how his mind thinks. His mind's in a constant state of positive admiration for his wife. How amazing is that?
Thank you. I do also think that it's I love that, right? Obviously it makes me feel very good, but I do think it is because I gave him non-negotiables when we first met. I said, so I actually want to talk about forgiveness, because I said to him, I have zero judgment on women that forgive guys. Like zero judgment. You need to live the life that you want. And so if your partner has betrayed you, had an affair or whatever, and you choose to go back, that is your decision to make. No one should freaking judge you for it. I'm just not that woman. And I knew that from the get-go. And
what makes you like that?
I know people very close to me who've been devastated by being cheated on. And I was like, I don't ever, like as a kid, I just remember seeing it. And I was like, I don't want that. And so it was my thing. And so I just let him know, hey, look,